Hey, how's it going, guys? How you been? It's been a little bit. I was camping last weekend at Mount Shasta, and it was well. Yeah, look, I'm not getting any younger or thinner, and for some reason, I decided to drive straight to the top and start walking across it like the air wasn't thinner or something. So I think I almost died. But that's fun, right? That's what hiking is, right? Yeah. Anyway, that's hopefully not why you're here. I've been asking many different mod authors their impressions on Starfield. Like, you know, what's the good, what's the bad, what's the in between? Hell, are they enjoying it? I wanted to do this because I've seen a lot of reviews out there that, okay, reviews. Some are reviews, sure, they're good. They're a very balanced approach, and it seems like there's just been a wave, like a week after release, of just random type. They're not even reviews. Like I think the one I saw last was the one that said, "Is Starfield good or is it just addictive?" What? Hey kid, you want to try some drugs? I don't know. Are they fun? Oh God, no. They're totally addictive. You take it, you're addicted. You just keep living your life taking it, and you slowly get worn down until you finally just right down into the grave. That doesn't seem right. Are you thinking marriage? I think you're thinking marriage. Hey, honey, if you're watching, that was just a joke. Our marriage is perfect. You're perfect, and I can't raise Doopy by myself. This guy needs a lot of attention. Stop looking at me. Okay. Anyway, the first one up is Eleanora. I asked her, what's her thoughts on Bethesda? And if you don't know who she is, I have a video where we interview and talk about the mods she does. Not only that, she's just been hired on to Bethesda, I think 6 months before the release. I could be wrong about that. But yeah, so she's a modder who made it to Bethesda. The dream is real, right? So I asked her what her thoughts were, and I also asked her, can she tell me a little bit about the CK2? But yeah, I think you know how that went. I can't really talk about my work with Bethesda all that much. I think by now I've signed like 3 different NDAs. But other than that, I'd love to chat. My hype and addiction to Starfield is over 9,000.
It's over 9,000!
I spent all my free time outside of work and sleep playing it, and I've only scratched the surface. I'm so excited to play and mod it for years to come. It's a masterpiece, and I'm not even biased. While I was working on it, I avoided testing the quest and stuff. I only play tested my own stuff. It's short and sweet and to the point. And if you want more of a response, I will be talking to her in October, so you can go ahead and leave your questions down below, and I'll leave a link to her Nexus page as well as the rest of these mod authors on this video. Next up is Redot. He is the curator and patcher and partial creator of Frost. He has already posted on his Discord some ideas for survival, creating survival elements in Frost. Not in Frost, sorry, in Starfield. And if you want to be a part of that conversation, I'll leave his Discord link down below. But he says this: the bad. It suffers a bit from some optimization problems and small bugs, but nothing that can't be fixed. Enemies tend to be often too bullet spongy in the early game, and general combat AI of NPCs is not as good as it could be. The in-between. The UI is better than in Fallout 4, and sometimes very well designed, but the inventory UI is not good for managing consumable items. It takes longer to get into the game than previous Bethesda games because the game is huge and has a lot to offer. The good. Dialogue choices and role-playing are better than in previous Bethesda games. A lot of work went into locations, especially cities. The new setting and lore is also far from bad. Once you get into the game, it offers dozens, if not hundreds of hours of fun, without mods. I am enjoying Starfield. It is a very good game, and I hope that it will get a large and active modding community for the next 10 years. Yes, the modding community. They have already bum-rushed Starfield. I can only imagine when the CK2 drops. I was actually talking to Worsin, which is going to be my next interview. We already had it. And we kind of had a conversation about how people don't quite remember Bethesda games before mods. If you put Skyrim, Fallout 4, and Starfield and said, okay, you can only play one of these games for the rest of your life without mods, I would pick Starfield. Skyrim, then Fallout 4. I just don't think people remember what a Bethesda game is like before mods. Now, of course, if you get further back into Oblivion and Morrowind, you can have different arguments because some people are really set on those titles and the lore they created. But for modern Bethesda games, I would absolutely say Starfield is in a way better position moving forward, especially with mods. Okay, next up. Next up is Neher. I know him pretty well. He's on the Sim Settlement team, and he's also on the New London team. And he is a great 3D modeler and animator. So if you haven't checked out his mods, you probably have, and you didn't even realize it. I'll leave his link down below. But this is what he has to say. Starfield's a pretty cool game. Gunplay is really nice, though the only gun that really seems to matter to me is the Big Bang shotgun, from what I've seen so far. I try using other guns, but they are all super weak compared to it. Plus, everyone's bullet sponge, so that doesn't help. Space travel is pretty wild. I like the grav drive hopping. The shipbuilder is really interesting, but I was never that big into settlements in Fallout 4. Kind of funny since he works on Sim Settlements, but we'll let that go. So I mostly just paint my ships, and haven't even touched Outpost either. My biggest struggle with the game is the dialogue system. I'm not ashamed to say that I missed the voice player and cinematic dialogue camera. Going from Fallout 4 to Starfield in this aspect is a significant downgrade, and I don't feel immersed within the game because of it. When I talked with Shiloh in the future, we can really get into this topic. Yes, we will, Neher, because you're wrong. You know you're wrong. I'm just kidding. It's easier, I think, to mod in my voice. I could be your main protagonist, Neher. I'll mod in my voice, and everywhere you go and every decision you go, you can hear my voice. Will that be more immersive? Probably not. Other than that, I wish we had hardcore mode like Fallout 4. I haven't beaten the main story yet, but I feel like I'm getting close. It's been really interesting so far, and I'm curious to see how it plays out with the other choices I've made. So yes, Neher was one of the few people I've interviewed that was really for the voice protagonist. He actually felt that they didn't go far enough. And I think to some degrees he's right, because if you're doing a voice protagonist, you should really go the Geralt way and go all the way. Just completely make it about him, make him a really cool character, get into his life more, make that the story. My problem with that is that Bethesda games should be about making your own story, your own headcanon. And as I said, you can get mods that voice all those lines. There's not anything stopping people from doing that. And the player, you can get some really cool voice actors out there that will do it. I'm working on a companion. I do not want to voice the main character. No, thank you. Especially since that's not something I would want. But yeah, we'll be talking to Neher hopefully in October as well. And last but not least, I am waiting on a couple others, but as I get them, I will send them in maybe shorts or I'll add them to other vehicles. Other vehicles. I must really want that mod. Cut. And speaking of adding survival choices and options into the game, the last person I have on this list is Flashy Joe. Now, Flashy Joe is at the end of this list because my boy does not half-ass answers. He gave me a dissertation. I think he was trying to apply for a modding scholarship. So I wanted to give the time and credit due to his response because he really dives deep and he deserves that. So let's take a look at Flashy Joe's. The good. Stories, side quest, faction quest. They have meat to them. They aren't simple one and dones, like previous games. Mission boards that give you never-ending procedurally generated quick questing. Quest dialogue. Having more than 4 choices like Fallout 4, where you can roleplay your character better and often. Your choices carry consequences for future events and interactions. The cities feel more alive than ever before. There is more diversity, both in NPCs, but also in the areas and the shop types within the cities themselves. They feel more lived in than in past games. The main quest to me felt more emotionally charged and engaging, personally, than being the Dragonborn or bereaved parent trying to find their son, which admittedly could have been stronger, but the Minuteman quest forcing you to sideline your search stole the depth for me in that scenario. Ship and outpost building are a mixed bag of good and in between. There's more room to be who you want to be due to the skill tree and systems within the game, be it cargo freighter, smuggler, pirate, hero of the galaxy, etc. There's a lot of meat here for 100+ hours of play in your first universe without needing mods, which is a real big deal. The in-between. Ship and outpost building, these are great for what they do, but they are limited. Not enough things to build for the outpost. Where are the snappable foundations? He didn't write Todd after that, but I feel like it should be there, so I'm going to read it again. Where are the snappable foundations, Todd? See? Much nicer. Ships should be able to house more than one generator. In higher class ships, though. Not in the A class. Some side quests, while longer than usual BGS content, which is great, weren't engaging enough. Genghis Khan as one example. It just felt off. New Game Plus is a bit of a mixed bag of in-between and bad. Some game systems are also a mixed bag. They do what they do, but they don't do enough. Stealth, where are the melee takedown paired animations? Companions are solid enough, but lack command functionality like Fallout 4. I feel they do what they do good enough, but I feel like I expected more from BGS on this front. Given the kinds of companion mods that have released in Skyrim and Fallout 4 scenes over the years. Heather Castian, anyone? The travel system, for me, I actually enjoyed it, but I can see how it is bothersome to others, so I'll call it an in-between. Coming from Elite and Dangerous and Star Citizen, direct flight is all well and good, but after the first 3 or 4 days of having to manually traverse space, especially in Elite and Dangerous, it gets tiring. Being able to just hop from system to system is fantastic medium. Plus, you can totally bypass the planetary scan section of the flight model by simply selecting a landing zone on a planet. i.e. fast travel. It really saves so much time. Of course, I do wish we could manually fly from space to a planet's surface, but the engine isn't made to allow that. Could it be modified by BGS? I'm sure they could load the planet into a memory through a re-entry load screen animation, or something that allows us to manually land. But again, for me personally, I enjoy it infinitely more than I will complain about it. Coming from previous space sims, that sucked time away to do these things. You know, I agree with this for the most part. I love fast travel. Once I found a place, I love survival in Skyrim because I had the carts to get to the main locations and then I can spread out from there. And I think there's a Reddit post that outlined what Bethesda may have been going for before, which made a lot of sense. And that was having fuel, and then all the settled systems are kind of on one side of the map. So the further you get out, you would actually have to create an outpost to mine fuel to get farther out. So I think there was, and there was also the video of the person who flies through the sun or goes to a planet. If you go around, you can go around the whole system. They're 3D models of these planets. I don't think they're super high res or anything, but the sun had animations going around it. So there is obviously an idea for more space travel within this game, and a lot of it got cut out for whatever reason. If it didn't fit the vision, or they decided fuel wasn't, which Todd said that fuel wasn't going to be fun because you're going to be stranded and it would take away from the gameplay. Whether you agree with that or not, I think having those systems somewhat frameworked in the game, a lot of these are going to be easy to solve. The hardest part still will be going from the surface of a planet to land. If we can mitigate everything else, every other load screen that's just there for probably past reasons, if we can eliminate them, I'm fine with just going onto a planet. Just drop me there and load screen up. I'm fine with that. I would love if it was modded out, but yeah. Anyway, that's my feeling. The bad. NG Plus was a great idea on paper. For those that understand the concept of infinite parallel universes, where everything could be different, knowing now that the only difference lies within how you meet Constellation and how that sets up for the artifact gathering, that nothing else is different in the least, aside from some dialogue choices as far as I've personally experienced or read from other people's experiences. It's really off-putting to me now. I feel like they've really missed an opportunity to introduce a variant universe where the UC and FSC lost control of their systems to the Crimson Fleet, where the Colony War was still ongoing or flared up anew, where Ve Victus never bombed Londinian, and the Terramore spread bad, like a Starship Troopers kind of situation, where Genghis Khan killed the other factions and managed to escape and was wreaking havoc across the galaxy, where Sarah Morgan died on Cassiopeia 2, where Sebastian Banks was never born, and there is no consolation knowing that only variability lies within your first 10 minutes upon entering the lodge, and it's otherwise the same after those 10 minutes? Yeah, this is not good for anyone that understands quantum theory and relativistic parallel universe theory, and expected to see a highly varied universe to cross into. This is my only true bad complaint about the game, aside from crashes that occur as a result of the way the engine is coded to interact with the SSD. A mod exists to fix this now. The way the menu entry and exit are stuttered and sluggish, and can cause crashes. Another mod exists for this now too. There are things I expect BGS to do in updating the engine that were issues in Skyrim and Fallout 4 that still have not been done. What'd I tell you, my man wrote a master thesis, but he's not done. He wants that extra credit, baby. Conclusion. Starfield is a great game that is going to last me for years and years, especially once Creation 2 comes out. Doubly so if we are able to add our own variant to the universe. Hint hint, Bethesda. Make this easy for us to do. I find the proceduralism to be amazing. Walking on planets and coming across random encounters and points of interest is always fun, never boring. But coming from No Man's Sky since the day it released, exploring and cataloging flora and fauna was the fun stuff. So, for me, I really enjoy that too. I've said it in a few places and been lambasted for it. But I truly believe that most of the problems people speak about with Starfield on YouTube reviews and whatnot are not Starfield problems. They're player problems, in that their headcanon of what it should be doesn't match what it actually is, and they would rather gripe about what they perceive as missing than embracing what is there, and getting hung up on a few seconds worth of inclusivity and equality and ranting and raging about it? Disgusting. It is a fantastic game with so much growth potential. I truly hope Bethesda does the one thing that they have not particularly done well in the past, and that's listen to the players when they list things that they want added, and then actively adding it natively, instead of forcing modders to create poorly implemented ways of achieving what folks are asking for. They should include mod authors of a certain quality and validation to help provide an understand of what the community wants, and helping to make that happen, either natively in the game or providing a tool set to help us do it, like needing new papyrus commands for scripting, or needing access to a game variable that is otherwise not able to be accessed. I'm looking at you, Fallout 4, where ammo weight was locked behind actual survival mode and couldn't be accessed by any other mode. I think you made a lot of good points, and especially about Bethesda needing to listen to the community about added DLCs. Because I feel, and I think it's going to happen again, I hope not for all of them, but I feel Bethesda kind of goes for an entire game they want, and then if they're running out of time, they cut out a bunch of those features and then they add them as DLCs, regardless if the community is asking for it or not. I think that Shatter Space is going to be that. I think it's going to be about House of Runes, since we basically know nothing about them, and it seems like it was kind of carved out for later development. But I hope in future DLCs they really listen to what players want, such as vehicles, or even finding a way to rework the engine to have atmospheric flight or something like that. That I think would be really good for Bethesda and the community if they see their actual desires met instead of having to rely on modders. Yeah. Hey guys, thank you for sticking all the way to the end. I appreciate it. If you want to help out more, leave a thumbs up. It helps me. I mean, not in real life. If you see me, don't give me a thumbs up. That's a little too rockly. But I have an interview coming. I interviewed Worsin. I'm editing it now. He is the creator of Mod Sanctum. He is also a really well-known mod author. But this next one, we're just going to be talking about Mod Sanctum and how it was an idea created from kind of a poor decision on Nexus's part several years ago, and where it's at right now and when it's going to be released. So if you are interested in that and also interested in getting involved with modding, he absolutely is going to be looking for people to help with this site, and he needs everybody in the community, from content creators to voice actors to, of course, modders. So yeah, till next time, guys, stay safe and mod reckless. a la fast travel. It really, a la fast travel. Why do you got to say it like that?